All right, hey everyone. I got Blake here from Whop. I think everyone now has probably heard of Whop. Definitely everyone in FMS Pro has heard of Whop, and everyone in the broader FMS community probably has, maybe not. If you haven't, Whop is what I think of as one of these many walled gardens that we're seeing pop up, like think Substack, kind of a platform that has a bunch of publishers on it, right? So um, Whop has been, I think the trade it does more than finance, but you have a huge trading, education, and trading service kind of business in there, and they do a bunch of stuff from having the platform that helps process payments, but also all these marketing opportunities on there. So today we have Blake Toves, is that right?
Chavez.
Blake
Yep.
Tovez, joining us. Blake's part of our FMS Pro community. Everybody in FMS Pro can hit him up in the Discord. Thanks for being here, man.
Yeah, it's finally good to be on after I think it's almost a year. Got to make it out to an in-person event though. I've connected with quite a few people in the community, Lincoln, Andrew Keen, um, and hope to bring some folks from our side too into the FMS Pro community. A lot of the creators, the people who are in the finance space on our platform, they wouldn't even know who Agora was if you brought the name up. That's
Yeah,
how.
so it's funny because when I first started FMS, there was the same separation, right? We had kind of the trader education community and affiliate community, and then you had kind of the newsletter community. And I was surprised too because even then, this was 2013, those two worlds didn't know each other existed, and so we brought them together, and that kind of became FMS. And so it's funny because now we have that same thing happening here with all these new creators coming on. And it's cool, it's exciting because that means there's lots of folks out there to do deals with, do business with. Um, and yeah, so just to kind of give the people who don't know WAP a little more of an overview, you want to kind of just give like a high level description of what the platform is and does?
Yeah, so WAP started as a small team out here in New York that was uh, originally like a launch pass alternative. So just a simple payment gateway that connected a Discord group with a payment processor, and it took this whole niche of sneaker bots. So folks who would pay to learn about when shoes would be at like a deeper discount and then buy them immediately. That was the first niche that they got into. And then every on the periphery, folks who are interested in sneaker bots were also interested in trading and sports betting, and so they started to acquire a lot of Discord groups, not like buy them out, but process payments for them. And it has since grown to now $1 billion valuation with investors like Peter Thiel, um, some other folks who in the most recent round last summer, not don't think I can name them, but if you go to Crunchbase, you can see all the
No
breakdown
worries.
of folks who've invested into it. You have people like Chain Smokers, that one EDM artist. You got a lot of interesting people on the board, and we're out here in New York. Behind me is this Domino factory. It's like a sugar factory that they stripped everything inside and put in a modern office, and that's where we mainly been working out of. And it has since grown to from 60 million processed last year around this time, 60 million a month, now 110 million a month. And a lot of people, they use us for processing. A lot of people use us for hosting their community. We're a fierce school and Punjabi competitor. Um, and many communities have been moving from those sites over to WAP. And one part because it's free to host your community on WAP. And secondly, the payment processing capabilities are just way better than those two options. That's originally why I even came over to WAP. It's been a year since I've been aware of this company. And I just wanted, for me, with the communities that I was consulting for, I wanted a seamless checkout process. And some of these sites, like school at the time, did not have that.
Hmm.
So that was the initial pain point for me. But upon going deeper and deeper, I realized, wow, WAP really has something special here. And
Hmm.
for anybody who's in the FinPub space, they might find it useful to take a look at how WAP has been promoting itself on just as a brand. And you can learn about our creators through the YouTube channel, the WAP YouTube channel. We have like these mini documentaries with each of the main creators that are on our platforms, people processing 500,000, 1 million a month. We have these We have our content guy go out and do it in person, and think of it as a day in the life video, but we have a
Hmm.
representative from our team that just talks about how they got their start and their entire business model, how they work, what their future plans are. And we've been able to grow the YouTube channel quite well that way. Yeah.
Nice.
As well
And
as
finance, just for I think at one point you guys were saying, I think trading offers were like the
Mhm.
second biggest or one of the
Yep.
top second biggest. So of that 110 million,
Mhm.
do you know offhand about what that is a month in processing through there?
Yeah, we're looking at around 50 million a month of it.
Right. So there's about 50 million a month in sales, guys, going through Whop's platform. So that's there's this, like you said, you started a lot of these kind of trading Discord communities, people who are creators.
Every
Uh,
model you can think of, really. It could
yeah.
be a done for you trading algorithm that people are
Mhm.
selling. Could be a simple Discord community with no high ticket back end. We're talking just low ticket. It could be entirely high ticket coaching program,
Mhm.
and everything in between.
Yeah. And so for anyone who's been, the people who are coming to FMS 2 years ago, I talked about this in the State of It FinPub that like what we were seeing was an explosion in the creator side of the finance subscription communities, and that we were seeing them pop up all over the place, and that was one of the main trends that we talked about in that State of FinPub. And so now you see like here's a perfect example. You have a platform or processing $50 million a month when what you said like the bigger creators are doing maybe 500,000 million 2 million a month.
Mhm.
So a lot of that, there's a lot of like these successful smaller creators building great businesses there. And what's interesting to me is there's the community side. um, you guys have added recently the micro influencer, kind of the clipper piece, which I'm going to get into.
Mhm.
You have the processing, but you're like you said, you're replacing kind of a content management and community education piece that they can post on there. So it's kind of like trying to go after being an all-in-one solution for, I would say, a more robust product mix than say like Substack and Beehive are very much focused on the newsletter, the email newsletter. And now, of course, Substack has added some other features there, but their core thing was the newsletter, whereas you guys kind of took the rest of the marketing world, social media, um, Discord communities, things like that. And that seems to be like we built out from there, which is, I think, an interesting difference.
Yeah, and in fact, there is no robust email marketing capability inside of WAP. The simplest version of that would be within, so you'd make a post, and that post would be sent out via our email servers to the list of all your users, but there is no flow that you can build or broadcasting system. It's very non-email centric.
Mhm.
It's very hyper focused on the apps within the WAP ecosystem. Uh, the most recent cool thing is your own custom LLM, custom chat GPT that people could ask questions about content that you have on your site, on your within your community, and they would get an answer from a chatbot.
Mhm. Nice, nice. That's pretty cool. And so just for that, I want to make this kind of point to the people who, email has been the driving force of sales for everybody for 20 some odd years. It's like we're funny to be in a newsletter boom in other spaces when I'm like, it's 25 years old, the e-letter. And so there's resistance to anything that say, oh, we're an email only kind of publisher. And it's like, that's kind of missing the point here is that we know like, SMS has become an increasingly large part of sales for people in terms of sales channel. We also know that like kind of this idea, I keep bringing this idea of walled gardens up, but just to kind of illustrate that or to expand on that for everybody. What I think one of the trends that we're seeing from a marketing perspective is that we're seeing these platforms and communities rise up that themselves represent a unique marketing opportunity. And rather than say, hey, I need to have everything integrated on the back end of one system, we're seeing a lot of opportunity to generate revenue and sales by going onto these platforms, participating in them to some degree, and having some of your business generating on WAP, It'd be like having something on Substack, because Substack is more than just the email um, capability anymore. There's an online community there, and that's why they're able to have some discovery, and people who are publishing there are able to generate, like, 20 to 30% of their subscribers are coming from that platform as opposed to just everywhere else. And so I think that this idea of participating in multiple platforms like WAP, like Substack, like Beehive, like that's becoming more important. And it also represents a lot of opportunity for people who are just doing the same thing and having acquisition issues, because there's a lot of acquisition. It's specifically the acquisition opportunity that's exciting, to get somebody who has a more established business to move over to a platform, right? And so with that, I'd like you to, like, let's start with kind of that piece, right? There's a ton of capabilities on the back end in terms of content, but let's start with, like, what is this Clipper network and what does that represent to people in terms of actually acquiring customers?
So with the onset of creators promoting products, you have short form content on every single platform, uh, blowing up brands. And we found that Drake and many other artists have started using their own fan base to get free work, essentially. Not all the way free, but you say you're a big artist and you want to get more views overall, like a brand awareness campaign, you would load up money inside of Whop, and we would have a Clipper manager signed your account if it's big enough, and would organize your fans to edit all the content. You'd have a Google Drive with all the videos that you'd want them to make edits of. And they would create their own fan page accounts and post those videos on there. And the way the algo works is often new accounts, they get a nice little boost, and the potentiality of going viral on those accounts versus just consolidating all the videos onto one account, virality potential goes up. So the way that the Clippers are incentivized is they get paid on every, like a CPM, every 1,000 views that they may get, they'll get paid $1, $2. If one in particular goes crazy, it's 100,000 views, maybe there's a bonus. And so there's different incentives that you can have for folks within the content rewards program. Paying them based off views is the simplest way to think about
Mhm.
it. So especially for anybody who has like a guru facing business, they would find great utility in using this. It's especially if this guru is as high energy, is reacting a lot to the markets. The
Mhm.
one of the largest brands on the platform, TJR Trades, this guy in his early 20s, based out of Puerto Rico. Many of his videos are of him. It's a vertical with him at the top and then the chart that he's trading with at the bottom. And he's explaining what's going on with the chart, maybe reacting to it, maybe. And when I say react, I mean he is like yelling at a screen, or he's showing something that's uh where there's a unique, useful insight, but it's entertaining at the same time.
Mhm.
So think of whatever long form video that explains a concept like support and resistance. He's can explain that in a short form. And if he does that in a creative way, can reach a pretty broad audience and maybe has a like how like the creativity potential is endless. You could some folks, I'll just speak on the gambling niche because I've seen it. They will have their laptops open in the middle of a convenience store, and and they'll have people that are just walking around them like, "Hey, should I put it all on red or black?" And then
Hmm.
just stuff like that.
Yeah.
And so something could be comparable to the trading space, uh,
Yeah.
but I
Well,
could go
it's
on and
what
on with
well,
examples.
what's exciting about it is and one of the things that, and we'll be talking about this more and more in FMS Pro, is that the one of the highest ROI spaces right now for acquisition is micro influencers, and that is going out to people like this, who have a small channel, have some kind of reach, and trying to get them to go out there and build views for you and drive them to some kind of a lead gen opportunity. And some
Mhm.
of the numbers that I'm hearing, and I can't say from everybody and who, there are pretty ridiculous numbers, like numbers we haven't seen in acquisition for quite a while. People who are spending, are getting like 10 to 1 or more ROIs on for every dollar spent. Um, and at pretty substantial scale too. We're talking over 10 million, and so like I think that's the really exciting thing here is that here's a platform that has um, specifically a marketing opportunity that uh, lets you come in and have a bidding system for micro influencers, right? So most of the things that I see out there, you're either finding an agency, which is great, or you have people who are just doing cold emails and outreach and cold DMs to people to see if they can get them to do something like this. And so having a platform that lets you go to people, small creators, specifically who are doing stuff in trading space too, because there's a lot of offers there. So they're out there. It's a really exciting little thing. That's probably not so little in terms of. Do you have any idea on what kind of revenues driven or leads have been driven with that?
Yeah, it's a pretty brand awareness oriented campaign where when somebody assesses the ROI, they look at, well, how much money am I making per follower in general? And if my funnel is to sell via my Instagram from the Instagram stories or even from DMs, then it's very relevant for me to run this sort of campaign. But say you just have something as simple as like a link to your newsletter in bio, and you command all of your clippers to make sure they have that link in there,
Hmm.
then you could track it that way. And you can make it about your newsletter and generate email signups from that. So,
Yeah.
and you could, for anybody watching this, as you watch this, you can go to Whop right now, make an account, and go to the Discover section and see the types of affiliate offers on there, as well
Hmm.
as the communities that have the most bounties available. Bounty as in the ones who are getting the most out of Whop's content rewards ecosystem, they're loading up the most amount of money. I don't know if it makes sense to
Yeah,
share my
why
give
don't
an
you pull it
example.
up and I'll just share your screen.
Okay, cool. Cool. And there's a lot hit the Whop page like this. You have Explore, you have leaderboards, but if you go to leaderboards, you go to trading, you can see on these categories what are the newest companies as it relates to trading that were just created. The most addicting, meaning the most time spent. It even gives you a breakdown right here. So most addicting is a list of WAPs ordered by the most time spent inside the WAP for each user in the last 24 hours. So for this one, gold pips, 86,000 or 87,000 minutes. It's been spent in the last day in this specific free signals group.
Nice.
It's like it's a Forex group. And then you have Options Insider Pro, shows the minutes. I like to go to most money made. That's a really fun one. It used to be where you could see the exact amount of money people were made, but we removed that feature because some folks didn't like it. But you can see real clearly which companies are making the most. And I'll tell you the ones at the top here, they're doing 1 million a month
So
in
then
volume.
just the $20,000, $10,000 a month, what do those numbers represent?
So many of the top ones, they sell high ticket, but this one in particular is a low ticket group.
Okay, so those are the prices of the products.
Yes.
Okay. Which is another thing that's um
Mhm.
uh it seems like a lot of this, not all of it, but there's a lot of this working towards high ticket funnels, right?
Yes.
And I think that's important for people to realize because this is a lot of social content, and yes, there's also paid ads. They'll send to they'll buy advertising to their funnel, but um, a lot of this social traffic is still going to high ticket funnels, right? Um, and there's a couple things with that. One is it speaks to quality of traffic, right? People are buying $20,000 products, um, but also that like the the high ticket sales funnel, like with phones is increasing it's increasingly being used across not just FinPub, but like the whole biz op industry, the whole internet marketing industry, because as everything else got harder and more expensive, like you need that high ticket to make things work, but it's working really well. And so again, people who don't have a high ticket phone kind of operation or setup, like it's a missed opportunity. But also just in terms of WAP, the fact that you can go on a Clipper network and people are driving views into things that are generating customers on super high ticket prices on products is, I think, a big change over the last 5 years. Whereas we have a lot of people who've been in the business for a long time,
And
and
here's that, by the way, the bounties.
yeah,
So you can earn $1 per 1,000 views, earn $300 per 1 million views.
yeah.
They position it
So
different.
before we get into that, I just want to, again, because I'm trying to put this in the context for people who've been in the industry for, we have people who've been in here for 20 years, 30 years.
Mhm.
Um, you know, tests that happened 5 years ago on different networks, like people, like, oh, that doesn't work. And then we always say it's usually when they're too early. We try things too early, and then it didn't work until you kind of ignore it. But like uh, the micro influencer piece, like it's working now. It's been working for the last year and a half really well, maybe 2 years, and it's crushing it. And so um, having that kind of component, like I can't stress enough how much it's worth testing uh, for folks. And so yeah, if you want to go back to the bounties and show like the bounties is the bidding system, right?
Yep. And an issue people would have with this is, well, how do I know if the views are real and it's not just a bunch of bot traffic or low quality traffic? We have a tool that allows you to look into that and verify, oh, this is not the type of traffic that I would want to pay for. And you specify that. For each of these that you see here, there are rules
Mhm.
specified in detail on what they look for to qualify for those payouts.
So what kind
So,
of qualifications can you put in there?
oh, well, like you can qualify for a payout if you got 1,000 views and it was from first world audience, like
Right,
US, Canada, etc. And yeah, that's the simplest one. And we have a tool that checks for that.
right. And then when you submit uh, the bounty, you can put parameters, including regulatory issue things of
Oh
what
yeah.
can and can't be said, right?
Yeah, you could say do not mention these words and have all the words there
Hmm. Okay,
or these language. And in the same way that an affiliate uh, program would be set up for highly regulated offers, you would do that.
nice. Right. So what else? So show me what else does WAP do that maybe we don't know about?
We have this app store. People can submit different apps that allows them to create more value in the WAPs, the products that they sell. So for
Hmm.
those who maybe are thinking one dimensional in that, oh, I have course, I have coaching, I have community. Well, there's other useful tools in here that some people would argue would be their own SaaS that you charge on a monthly basis for. This syncs up people's bets. There are like that AI tool I had mentioned earlier on the call, Wisp, I believe. Hmm. You can scroll through here and see a few. And this is what, oh yeah, a companion that will tell people about the content in your WAP community. And you install it, and once it's installed, you can configure it for your people. You can have
Hmm.
support tickets, a simple image editor. You can play Squid Game in your WAP. Things that make it sticky. Because the entire team, we're not just focused on, the amount of people processing money through the platform. There's the engineering team focused on how do we get people to stay on the platform and visit it multiple times a day, every day of the month. Because we're playing the venture capital game, and those metrics matter when you're attempting to raise even more money, or whenever
Yeah.
you're just talking to your board of advisors, letting them know, hey, we have a healthy ecosystem. People are actually using the product. You can host giveaways. You can have a map where all of the folks inside of your community be viewed.
Right. So what are the what are the processing fees here?
Oh yeah. So we can get into the finance and processing side, my favorite one. And you have most of our $1 million a month accounts are at Stripe rate, or we can beat it. For anybody who just comes off the street and makes a Whop account without talking to anybody on the team, they're at a 6% total processing fee because they can self onboard. And we don't know
Hmm.
what they're going to do.
Right.
But often, if they talk to us, we can get the rate down substantially. It depends on what their volume is. It depends on what their dispute rate is and their industry. Oftentimes, the industry, not as much, but like the dispute
Hmm.
is a big deal. And
Yeah.
then many people have come to us, not even to process their payments, but for financing because they have high ticket offers. We have one stock options group that does 2 million a month or more, and they run about 37% of their volume through one of our financing options. And because we're so big, we have negotiation power. And so Split It is a company that we're engaged with. Klarna, Afterpay, or other solutions too, we have access to. But Split It is one that is exclusive with us at the moment. And that's a unique product I could go in several minutes about. But that's just a
Yeah, let's talk about that because it's a nice it's an interesting financing option for high tickets. So
cool.
yeah, what's the deal with just kind of give a quick overview of what you can do with Split It.
Can I bring in my guest, Derek, who is our head of payments and Split It expert?
Sure.
All right, let's bring him in.
Good timing.
What's up? Hey,
Let's
Derek.
take a seat.
Hi, am I in frame? I am in frame. What's going on? On the split it piece, perfect segue into a conversation around that. Yeah, to Blake's point, we have many buy now, pay later options that the higher ticket guys are really focused on. Split it being our bread and butter right now. Traditionally with Split it, they were e-com or physical product only, and you had to be doing 10 to 15 million a month top line to be considered for an account. After some work with them, we're introducing it to the digital coaching, high ticket space in a way that they never really considered prior. And by doing so, we're taking over some liability, a little bit of the risk, as well as the underwriting to give it to businesses that traditionally couldn't have got it. So the way that Split It's working is, as a credit card nerd, it's just a hyper creative credit card transaction. And so it
Mhm.
acts as a pre-auth on a customer's credit card. If you send somebody, for example, a 12K USD payment link, they're going to, on our interface, get an option for a 3, 6, or 12-month payment plan option. And through this flow, there's no social, no ID, no address upload, nothing outside of a standard credit card information link for uploading information on. They enter standard billing materials, credit card number. They choose between 3, 6, or 12 months, and they're presented with an interest-free financing option for, let's use the example, 12 months. What happens on that 12K payment link, right, is it shows up on their credit card as $11,000 pending and $1,000 goes to be paid, acting as a standard credit card transaction, right? 30 days later, another $1,000 shears off that pending and goes over to be paid, and so on and so forth for 12 months. And I use the 12K for that 12-month example of it will always be just that $1,000 flat on that numerical example. There's no origination fee, no extra fees of any sort, and it's just a standard transaction in the eyes of a credit card processing company in comparison to a traditional buy now, pay later financing. So not needing credit checks of any sort allows us to offer this in 17 different countries, all of the EU, Australia, Canada, working on Mexico next, and a little bit of Latin America. But we genuinely believe we're the first product offering for instant buy now, pay later for those countries outside of Canada or the US for the most part. Merchants get paid in 4 days, nice and easy. And I know we were talking fees there a second ago. Internally, knowing the types of businesses we were going to offer it to, we spent a lot of time determining what we wanted to price it at. And we just came to the conclusion that pricing it at 15% flat rate to the merchant and no interest or no fees whatsoever to the customer was the best route. To the stock option trading account that Blake had mentioned, they're doing significant volume through this program. And anecdotally, what their sales reps are running is just saying, hey, for example, it's 10K today or 11,000 to finance it for 12 months. They're just passing through 10% flat. Business eats 5, which is below what they're paying. Most accounts are paying with Klarna, Affirm, Afterpay anyways, right? And so they're saving a little bit there. Customer eats the 10 nice and easy in comparison to interest that they would see with an Affirm or a Klarna in most cases. And that framing and that selling of it has turned into the biggest guys are using it for the financially qualified but price sensitive prospects, right? This isn't an end all be all golden standard, the last financing option you'll ever need, but it's fantastic for the guys that are doing numbers that have sales teams losing deals to financially qualified prospects, which arguably are the worst deals to lose, right? They had the money, but they just didn't buy. And so implementing it there for sales teams is what's turned it into like their ace up their sleeve in most of the programs we've seen.
Nice, nice. Do you have any evidence, anecdotal or otherwise, on kind of bumps they're getting?
Yeah, so that stock option trading account that Blake had mentioned, that's just one of our favorite case studies, is Blake had introduced them, and we spent a lot of time onboarding them early to our relationship. They were looking at 1.6, 1.7 million a month as a record prior to working with us. They were trying every financing solution under the sun in a bunch of different creative ways, different Stripe accounts in their cousin's mom's sister's name, right, to have an Affirm account for 11 minutes, then it'd blow up, right? And so we had brought them in, we added Split It, and it was funny on the initial sales call, they just said, hey, if we do 2 million this month, the whole sales team is going out to Monaco for F1. And I was like, I'm already going, so I'm going to meet you guys there. Let's get to that 2 million. And we just force split it down their whole sales team's throat. I did an entire one-on-one onboarding with every rep, and they did an additional 600,000 that month with Split It being added to their program.
Now, what month specifically?
That was April. We added them April 21st. They basically ran all of the volume that they had through the rest of that month through Split It, doing 600 grand in 9 days. And that
Nice.
for that team was monstrous. It was insanity.
Right.
And now they're hovering between that 2.1, 2.6 mil a month since April. And it's only been 2 months of an example. But yeah, it was insanity. And that was our first really crazy use case of someone using significant or using it for a significant amount of their volume. And so that's been the case study we're bringing up to everybody now of like, if you're running 40% ish, give or take of your volume through this and you're at scale, you're going to see an insane uptick in conversions.
That's killer. That's killer. I appreciate that.
Yeah.
So since I have the payments guy on here real quick, this is a lot of this is high risk processing, right?
Yeah.
So what kind of like you have beyond just this product,
Yeah.
overall, like what are you guys doing for your processors, and how are you handling the fact that you do have high risk kind of product lines in some of these places?
Of course. Yeah. So when I joined Whop, we were single PSP running everything through Stripe. And this is like, we've talked about this across all the socials a lot. We were Stripe only, and we were doing very well, all things considered. We have a fantastic relationship with Stripe on a merchant of record level relationship, which puts us in between as a buffer as taking full liability. We still run tons of our volume through Stripe as a platform. And this is also like publicly available that we talk about a lot. But we also have 5 PSPs as well that are stacked on the back end that are layered in and that are orchestrated through. And so we now have a cascading payment orchestration platform that is optimized for the highest likelihood of authorization on a transaction, depending on region, ticket size, card brand, so on and so forth. And so through those PSPs, we just went through extreme underwriting with them, taking full liability as a merchant of record provider, and just basically negotiating terms of, we're going to onboard deals that you guys normally don't board, but because we're holding full liability, let's just not worry about it, right? And that's kind of the framing. And then down into the depths of it, we've just established our own risk policies, what we're willing to do and what we're not willing to do. And there's certain verticals, neutral related stuff, mail enhancement, excessive FTC related trading offers, right? The stuff that is violating 1 or 37 policies or regulations, right? We don't touch almost any of that, right? But if it's staying within standard laws, and a majority of the world will board the deal in the high risk realm, but we're sticking to that digital info coaching fulfillment style businesses versus the physical, which makes it much easier on our end to be able to support them longer term versus
yeah, nice. That's awesome. So when somebody comes on board, like, are they getting a kind of is there a person they talk to, or is it general
Yeah.
rep?
To
Does it
Blake's
be a
point,
certain
we have
size?
Yeah, we have self onboarding. Anyone can go and create an account for free and onboard. We limit many features for self onboarding individuals or merchants, just because a lot of them are very like hyper specific use case. But if you were to come through a sales rep, which is basically almost referral only, we don't have a real flow for onboarding through a sales rep, as our best relationships are through referrals always. You come in through one of our sales reps or anybody on our growth team, and we get a good understanding of the business. We know what specific features to roll out to you, what financing to do. We ask about previous chargeback history, the risk of the account overall, right, and your average tickets to determine, what are our max ticket links that you can create, what pricing are we going to put them at, to Blake's point about our different pricing on credit card and financing. And then we kind of white glove onboard every deal of scale. And so that stock option trading account we mentioned, like the day that we onboarded them, I got on a Zoom with their entire organization, the whole group, and we had like 30 plus people on there. And we did a full training on how to use the entire platform, how to frame selling with these different options, what credit authorization rates look like, so on and so forth. And so those white glove style accounts, we love spending time with.
Killer. I appreciate it.
Yeah.
Thanks. Is there anything else you think that established publishers should know about the platform and what you guys do?
The embedded checkout.
We have recently rolled out embedded checkout. It's been something that we fought tooth and nail for as a merchant of record. That's very difficult to get around. Traditionally, merchant of record requires it to be completely within our ecosystem. The checkouts would have to be on a whop.com URL. Recently rolling out the ability to embed our full payment stack, our upsells, our downsells, all our order bumps into your Go High levels, your ClickFunnels, your Webflow sites, whatever it may be. And now direct integration into Go High level, working on close.io or close.io as other CRMs as well, full Zapier integration, make.com, so on and so forth. But we have extensive webhook API capacity. And now with the embedded checkout, we're seeing larger offerings and publishers integrate us into their funnels finally, because they just hated our UI, which is fair, right? Everyone has their obsessions with retention and conversion optimization. And so now that we can embed into your existing pages, we're seeing a sick uptick in bigger offers taking advantage.
Killer. That's great.
Yeah.
Awesome. No, that's cool, guys. I appreciate it. This is cool. I think a lot of people are interested in this and becoming more interested in it. Like I said, that we're pushing. There's so many new traffic opportunities for folks, and as other ones kind of slow down, they got money to spend and looking for places to spend it.
Of course. Yeah, the Finpub circle is a different circle than majority of the other biz opt style or like copywriting, whatever, different industries or niches that we've broken into very well. We're excited to keep breaking into the Finpub because it's the most tried and true, longest standing publishing, circle in my opinion. And it's also the best people to work with every time. So we're excited to keep getting introduced to
that's where Agora came out with the first e-letter in '99, I think.
Yeah.
So we've been doing email newsletters forever and publishing. So no, it's a great community and they got a lot of great businesses there. And so I've been excited to kind of talk to you guys and hopefully have you guys out at FMS this coming up here.
We have to line that up.
Connect with everyone. So sweet. Well, I appreciate you guys coming on here. I think this is awesome. I'll get this out to everybody. If anyone has any questions, if you're an FMS Pro, you can hit Derek up or you can hit Blake up in the FMS Discord. If you have any other questions, if you're not an FMS Pro, just hit me up and I'll make a connection. So
sweet. Appreciate the time and listening to the payments rambling there.
No, that's what I love. People who know what the hell they're talking about, rambling about what they're doing. So that's the thing. So appreciate it, guys. Thanks.
Beautiful. Thanks, John. Have a good one, man. We'll talk soon. Okay.
Thank you.
Take care.
Bye.
See you.